And a very good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. It's a Thursday morning, and yeah, another one of those days when you open your eyes and you say, thank you, Lord. Hey, pretty good looking morning here in St. George, by the way. And here's the invitation to join us for today's edition of Good Day. Yeah, Good Day, Grenada. So far, so good. Well, let's get right into it. Take a look at the rundown. And we're going to begin this morning with a letter. We've been reading a lot of letters lately, haven't we? And the letter this morning is an open letter from a Grenadian who lives in a little town called Milton in Canada. It's in Ontario. And he was recently on a visit to Grenada and went up to Petite Martinique for a few hours, went back up to Milton and has written this letter about the conditions in Petite Martinique. Find out a bit more about that in just a wee bit. We also have, would you believe it, they're alive, the Conference of Churches. A statement which was issued yesterday by the Conference of Churches offering some advice to us, the Grenadian people, about Carnival. Yeah, Carnival. As I think back, seems like every year just before Carnival, they do issue similar statements. And so this year is going to be absolutely no exception. Then we do have the national report for you. And yesterday morning, I played you a couple of excerpts from the press conference, press briefing, weekly press briefing, which was held by hosted by Prime Minister Keith Mitchell on Tuesday. And the parts that I showed you were actually responses to the media, re-questions that were asked by the media. So, this morning, I'm going to show you a statement or statements which the Prime Minister made just before he began answering questions from the media, okay? So essentially, that is our lineup this morning. Now, even before I begin, I'm going to take a quick look here. I can't wait. I can never wait to say hi to you guys and gals. So let's see who's there. Peter Bishop. Hello, Peter. Wasn't I just talking with you, Peter? Good to see you, my bro. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your help. You're a blessing. Peter is checking in from Long Island this morning. T.F. Richards says, good morning, family. And remember, George, don't what? He says, remember, George, don't go there. Go where, TF? Come on. I'm not sure. Anyhow, good to see you, TF. Fitzroy Adams is checking in as well, and so has good old John out there in Carriacou. Boy, John, I guess you're all set. Are you going to go out with some of these sailors on their workboats, the regatta this weekend? Every year at this time, it kind of burns me that I'm not able to be in Carriacou. I haven't been up there for a number of years for the regatta. But prior to that, I made a lot of visits to Carriacou. Actually, we've done several programs from Carriacou for the regatta. And we would be out there not only on the yacht where we were based, but we would go out with some of the fishermen, the sailors, and have a blast. Well, it's not going to happen this year. Not going to happen this year. But by God's grace, I'll be back. I'll be back. I do hope that you guys have a wonderful time, because I know that things have sort of gone downhill with the regatta, but it's still a wonderful event, and I long for the day when the organizers would really recognize the potential of this event, take it seriously, and give it all the attention that it needs. But I'm sure that one way or another, there'll be a lot of people up there in Carriacou this weekend. So have a great time. Let's see now. TF says, that's the latest slang from our Prime Minister. Oh, TF, always on the ball. And Anthea is checking in. Boy, I am so happy to see this girl showing up on a regular basis nowadays. Wow. Thank you so much, Anthea. Peter Belfond says, so do they have anything on the corruption that has riddled the country in recent times? The Conference of Churches need to be in a conference to understand their purpose. Yeah, you know, Peter, I had been trying to get the conference to make some comments about the cell phone gate issue. Haven't succeeded, and I'm not saying I've given up, but there are a lot of other priorities. You know, I tend to work with people who are willing to work with me, because I don't have an awful lot of time. I still operate this whole operation here on a one-man basis, and I don't have a lot of time. So I'm fortunate, very thankful to both the Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce and to the Trade Union Council. They were both in here on the weekend, and I really do appreciate it. If you guys know any of these fellas, tell them Georgie Porgy said thank you. Let's see here. John says, George, I swim like a brick. So, no. John ain't going out on a boat with those sailors. No. Well, John, you know, I'm one of those too. I can't say that I'm a good swimmer. The interesting thing, and a lot of people still haven't figured this out, I think it's all mental. You give me a pair of flippers, and you can throw me in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and I will swim all over the place. No problem. Take those flippers off, boy, down he goes. So I don't know. I can't explain it anyhow. Arthur Langine is saying good morning to you, Brother George, from New York, with lots of sunshine. So you got sun too, eh, bro? Good for you. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Yashon Tafari says, blessed morning from St. Kitts and Nevis. Hello, St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Kitts and Nevis, I hope you guys are going to join us tonight as well for this week's edition of Make Chat. Then, T.F. Richard says, T.F. Richard says, the Conference of Churches and persons like Sheldon Scott are all the same. They are all puppets. They never speak about burning issues, but try to lead the country away from them. What a shame. Absolutely, absolutely. Mags! Hey, Mags. Good to see you, girl. John says, me too. It's all in the head. Yeah, I really believe it's psychological. I mean, come on. You can swim with flippers. Take them off. Why can't you? I don't know. Anyway, let's get down to brass tacks. I told you about that letter that was written about the conditions in Carriacou. Well, let's get started on that. First, I'm going to read a preamble to the letter that was written by Mr. Saltasick. He says here, and I quote, I did not plan for this to be a public crusade. But I am concerned that my representations to the minister or the member of parliament and cabinet minister with responsibilities specifically for Petite Martinique would not be given the attention that is so crucial from a health and safety perspective. He said, my letter sent by email to the minister, as attached below, is self-explanatory. That's the letter I'm going to read to you in just a bit. Perhaps I should have made greater effort to underscore the urgency of the potential landslide just waiting to happen. But again, I had just seen the minister on the very Friday, July 19th, and she assured me that she was well aware of all the issues mentioned, but budgetary constraints have prevented any action so far. As of today's date, got this email yesterday, I have received no response from the minister or any of her staff or from anyone, read the email, any of the people to whom he sent the email. Let me quote now the letter that was written by Mr. Georgie Soltysik from Milton, Ontario. Georgie's a Grenadian, but he's been living away for years and years and years. Dear Madame Minister, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to meet with you at your office immediately following my visit to Petite Martinique on Friday last. My purpose for wanting to meet with you after visiting beautiful Petite Martinique for just a couple hours was to offer you some small representation on behalf of Petite Martinicans regarding some major issues observed during my short visit there. There is a serious risk to life on the one side of the island where the road sits directly beneath a cliff which produces landslides and falling rocks. The road is used daily by children going to and returning from school, as well as by adults going about their daily lives. The risk of a major landslide that could totally block the road is imminent. God forbid it should happen as regular commuters or visiting tourists go by. There is no banking facility on Petite Martinique. No bank, no banking machines. How do businesses and residents manage in this day and age without any financial institutions in which to make their deposits and cash transfers and withdrawals? How can Petite Martinique make progress with such a handicap? I was shocked to discover the absence of an operational gasoline station on the island due to a feud between two business operators who, as I'm told, are also brothers. When gasoline is brought in to Petite Martinique, it has to be siphoned individually into cars and containers. This is also a health and safety matter. There are few roads on Petite Martinique that are quite rough and in need of repair. Finally, last but not least, is my own less than graceful exit from the small Osprey ferry on return from Petite Martinique to Hillsborough, where, on having to jump from the ferry onto the jetty, I stumbled and fell, injuring my shin. This experience made me wonder How do the elderly and infirm enter and exit the Petite Martinique ferry? Why do the people of Petite Martinique have to suffer on a daily basis all of the above indignities and serious risks to life and limb? They are Grenadians too. Carriacou is well looked after by comparison. These are just a few of the issues I discovered on my brief 2-hour visit to Petite Martinique, but which I thought were so serious they needed to be brought to our government's attention by an independent non-resident. I was pleased to see you are well informed on all of these issues, including now through my traumatic stumble, the need to address ferry passengers entering and exiting the ferry, and that you in fact have made representation to Cabinet on the landslide dangers. Plus, also attempted to mediate the gasoline feud. I understand there are budgetary implications, but please accept my humble reminder that government has a responsibility to intervene in matters which affect the general welfare of its people. And the bottom line is, results do matter. Thank you once again, Madam Minister, for hearing me out. I wish you every success in addressing all of the above. Please convey my best regards and compliments to our Prime Minister, a fellow PBC ex-alumni, on the many successes of his administration, but to please prioritize amongst the many files on hand so we don't let our fellow Petite Martinicans fall through the gap. Respectfully yours, George A. Soltysik. And as I mentioned, George lives in a little town called Milton in Ontario. All right? Now, move on to the Conference of Churches. They issued this statement yesterday, and again, hold on. Yeah, I'm going to read this for you verbatim. It says, Carnival is upon us yet again with its many activities designed to appeal to our cultural and fetting appetites. While we can take pride in the talents of our musicians and designers, the performances, the music, and the behavior are all skillfully coordinated and designed to alter our thinking and acting in much the same way that drugs do. Excuse me. All of us have an obligation to stand in responsible freedom before all that is presented to us and make sound moral decisions about what we would accept and what we would reject. Such decisions should be based on your principles, values, moral awareness, consciousness, and convictions. Every person in the state of Grenada is encouraged to distinguish between culture and mere fet, and to think about life well beyond the bacchanal season, remembering that your actions today have consequences for your future when you may have to answer questions to your children, employer, or your future spouse. To this end, the Conference of Churches in Grenada reminds everyone to exercise self-discipline and moderation at all times, and in particular during the fete season. Everyone is asked to avoid excessive drinking and other drug use, excessive nakedness and casual sex, which can change your lives forever. We're all responsible for our actions. And while we may not be able to change the songs the artist sings, we can determine our response to them. Let us make this carnival the best in safety, morality, and health, as we maintain the level of discipline we would like our children to follow. Each year, Carnival comes and goes. You remain. Grenada remains. You can't stop a bird from flying over your head, but you can certainly stop it from building a nest on your head. Signed, the Conference of Churches. Okie dokie. Statement from the Grenada Conference of Churches, and that came into me yesterday. Let me run back here for a minute. Let's see here. I'm scrolling back here. Okay. Hazel Ferguson is saying good morning to everybody. Margaret says, just move your feet the same way as you would if they were flippers. You can always count on Margs. Always count on Mags for some advice. Thanks, Mags. We'll try it, but I have to first get to the beach. You know how rarely I do that. Okay. Peter Belfont says, George Grant, you are so much a valuable asset in the field of broadcasting, but instead of the authorities making use of a personality like you, their repulsive spirit are like vomit you never wish to fix your eyes upon. Thank you, Peter. He also says, really? No banking facility? I've often wondered about that, you know. Boy, until you've been there, you don't know what these people go through. But you know what? Being blessed the way they are, they get by. They're at peace. They're happy. And they're wonderfully accommodating. Go to Petite Martinique. Tell them Georgie Porgy sent you. Osmond Lewis says, good morning. She's watching from Newark. That's in New Jersey, I would imagine. Peter Bishop says, budget constraints have not prevented Mr. Scott phone bills from being paid on time, but it's a problem to do work on Petite Martinique. Yeah. I'm not going there. Margaret says, it all depends on what the fiscal space allows. Yeah, Mags. Oh, fiscal space, that has just been overused. Kipling is saying, blessings to everybody. And Donna Joseph says, how come now the Conference of Churches find their tongue to speak? Where were they hiding when all the PhoneGate scandal and other corruption that is taking place in bright daylight against this country and its citizens? Well, you too noticed, Donna? Yeah, man. Anthea says, thank you, Conference of Churches. However, my question to you is, when are you going to address the state of affairs and immoralities of the Prime Minister and his leadership? Good morning, Anthea. John says it all depends on who the fiscal space allows for. Margaret says, your role as spiritual leaders is to condemn oppression, feed the hungry, clothe the naked, visit the sick and imprisoned, chant down corruption. Be like Jesus Christ. That's exactly what he did. Margaret, if only they could hear you. If only they could. There's her comment up on the screen right now. That's exactly what he did. Okay. Oi, oi, oi. 25 minutes after the hour, we ain't even reached national report yet. But let's take a quick break. We'll come on back with just that.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply departments and Food Fair supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's Hardware, Food Fair supermarkets, and the Grenadian General Insurance, an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan. Mr. Watts, wait. Why are you removing my sign?
Sorry, Larry, but you can't put the sign on an electricity pole. That is an accident waiting to happen.
Mr. Watts, man, I just finished this new house. I need to put up a sign so that people would know that the apartment is for rent. Why can't I put my sign on the pole?
Larry, you should know better. Think about it. Nails, staples, glue, and signs make it difficult for linesmen to quickly and safely climb poles, and it can delay their response time when there is an emergency. These objects can prevent linesmen responding as quickly as they should in an emergency.
You know, I've never thought about those things. But you're absolutely right.
On top of that, Larry, your sign was covering the pole identification number. What if someone needed to report a fault? The pole number tells Grenlec exactly where the problem is and allows them to respond faster.
Whoa, I really didn't consider all these things, you know. Come, let me help you take this down.
Remember, be safe, be smart. No more signs, banners, or posters on electricity poles.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Studying too hard about back-to-school expenses? Co-op Bank is making back to school as easy as 1, 2, 3. Enjoy competitive interest rates, affordable monthly payments, speedy decisions on applications. Come in and apply today.
High cell phone bills prompt government to look at other areas of potential wastage. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Wednesday, July 31st, I am Rakisha St. Louis. The recent discovery of high cell phone bills caused largely by data charges is prompting government to examine other areas of service for potential wastage. Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, disclosed this Tuesday at the weekly post-cabinet press briefing. Assuring the population that this will not happen again under his watch, Dr. Mitchell said, and I quote, "We must seek to ensure that we are not wasting taxpayers' money. We are looking at solutions, tighter monitoring and auditing, and other areas of controls," unquote.
There's an old saying that no bad breeze blow. When something happens, sometimes it opens your eyes and it gives you to look at not just that issue, but other areas of weaknesses that you may be overlooking. And you might find out that it will give us an opportunity to assess. I've just come from Ministry of Finance, and that's what I'm saying here. I repeated the same thing there. Guys, look around us and look at the other areas. Look at electricity, look at this, look at that, look at all the things. And ask yourself if we are making sure that we are not wasting taxpayers' money and so on. Examine this. So we are looking at solutions. Now with solutions, tighten the auditing department of government. Is, looking at all areas of controls, looking at responsibilities, a phone bill or electricity bill or water bill comes from government, from some company to your ministry. You don't just sign it and send it on for payment. When each of us get our bills, what do? We check it. So if the water bill goes up to where we call, well, what happened? It happened to me too, you know. And I call and say, how come that thing reached $1,000 and of course I'm paying $75? And you found there's a pipe that bust. But if it's government, we paying without asking, well, it's a pipe that bust. So the pipe might be running for months. But we have to examine it, every bill. And if we are doing that, if every person who is responsible for accounting in the public sector, if we were doing this, then we will not be talking that problem here today.
Going forward, a comprehensive plan will be put in place to ensure that there are proper controls for the use of government-issued cell phones in the first instance and subsequently for landlines as well, and making long-distance calls. The draft policy and procedures on cell phones is also being reviewed. Government also continues to engage with Digicel to address the high bills and ensuring that the agreed-upon data cap is instituted. Government has given the green light to commence work on the Western Corridor project. The project includes NOASA's water project, Western Main Road project, and agriculture feeder roads, among others. Grenada was awarded €28 million from former British Prime Minister David Cameron as part of a €300 million grant for Caribbean development. A total of 8 Caribbean islands benefited from the UK grant. $15 million have been set aside for improving the water system in the north of the island. Infrastructural Development Minister Honorable Gregory Bowen said developing the water system will augur well for further economic development.
The Grenada Western Corridor project, a massive project. Most of you will remember when Prime Minister Cameron came to Grenada, and we got something close to $28 million as grant. Jamaica and other countries got as well. 15 million of this went to NOASA, and so they will be embarking on a significant amount of projects in the north of the country to ensure that water is provided. And there's always a complaint that we take water from the north and the middle of the country and channel it to Grand Anse. And although the hotel sector is good, then if we want to develop the north of the country, we must have water in the north as well. So this $15 million will go a long way ensuring that the water projects in the north of the country are developed. And so investors can come to the north and say, I can put down a plant and a factory because we have ample water supply.
Refurbishment of the Hermitage Government School is among smaller projects that will commence during the month of August.
The Mount Horn Child Development Center, the Grenada Enhancement Project, this is a big project, CDB. National Skills Development Program at Malmount and Riversally. And I want to specifically mention the Hermitage Government School, one of 5 schools that will be refurbished during the holiday seasons. So your ministry and your government is at work.
The Western Corridor project is one of 24 other projects that were recently approved by Cabinet. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Every summer, the Spice Island of Grenada is transformed into the Caribbean's biggest party, Spice Man.
Foreigners from all over coming down to Grenada.
Come experience the warmth of our people, trending theme fetes, the revelry, the pageantry, and why we are the Jab Nation. The Kids Our Future shines on August 3rd in the Children's Carnival Frolic and the Junior Calypso Show. 7 beauties take center stage as the Queen of Carnival is crowned on majestic Thursday, August 8th. The prestigious Soca and Groovy Monarchs are crowned on Carnival Friday night, August 9th. Enjoy the pulsating rhythms of the Still Pan at the Junior and Senior Panorama on Carnival Saturday, August 10th, and Real Steel, August 17th. The March Gras crowns the Calypso Monarch on Carnival Sunday, August 11th. 2 days of frolicking in the Caribbean sun kicks off on Monday morning, August 12th, with the biggest Juve in the world. Followed by pageant and Monday night mass. The creativity and splendor of our mass parades on the road Carnival Tuesday, August 13th. Join us in the Jab Nation of Grenada, August 8 to 12 for Spice Mass 2019. Many events, one carnival.
Welcome back. Grenada has promised to assist the government of China with the facilities necessary to build an embassy in the country. The assurance was given by Foreign Affairs Minister Honorable Peter David during a recent housewarming ceremony at the new Chinese official residence in Trublu. He says the fact that they have decided to have a permanent home in Grenada shows they are here for a long time.
We're looking forward to them building an embassy. They are currently renting the embassy, so they're only halfway there. The government has decided that we are going to assist with respect to provision of certain facilities to the People's Republic of China in that regard. And I want to assure you, Ambassador, that we are doing everything to fulfill the promise we made to have the People's Republic have an embassy built in Grenada.
Chinese Ambassador Dr. Zhao Yunchen says purchasing their property signals a new starting point for the friendly relations shared between both countries. He says the next step is construction of a new embassy.
After completion of the new chancellery, it will mark the permanent presence of China, which will definitely promote bilateral relations and friendly cooperation in an even better way.
Honorable Gregory Bowen, who addressed the function then in his capacity as acting Prime Minister, is looking forward to continued relationship between both countries, not only at the government level, but also at the level of the private sector.
We've seen great projects, and we look to the future when at least 2 very large projects will materialize. Of course, with the blessings of the government, but from the companies themselves. And having attended the show in China, I can vouch that I've had commitment from 2 large Chinese companies, and they have advised, I know, this embassy that it will soon be in Grenada.
Prime Minister and the Minister for National Security, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, has sounded the warning that lewd and indecent behavior would not be tolerated during Carnival celebrations. Referring to images of indecency demonstrated at a recent regional carnival, Dr. Mitchell said that he would not want to see that type of behavior on display in Grenada. He noted that although Carnival is a season of festivity, Grenada is still very much a Christian society.
We must always remember, no matter what, how we feel, or what we wish to do, we have a responsibility to our citizens and our population, particularly young people. The message we send in the way we conduct ourselves in no matter what area is something that must be tempered by the impact it will have on the young ones and the young people of our country. So I would expect that we won't see what I saw in that video, and what is defined as part of a carnival operation, not happen here. And I am sure the police will act appropriately if any such activity is attempted. And I think all of us should be proud in supporting the police, because all of us, we have families, we children, grandchildren, and clearly we do not want them to adopt some things that are not in their best particular interests.
According to the Criminal Code, Chapter 72A, Section 137, Subsection 32 of Volume 4 of the 2010 Revised Laws of Grenada, a person who is found guilty of indecent, disorderly, or insulting behavior can be imprisoned for up to 3 months, face a fine of $1,000, or both. That story just ended the National Report for today, Wednesday, July 31st. Let's recap the top story. High cell phone bills prompt government to look at other areas of potential wastage. On behalf of everyone here at the Government Information Service, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Alrighty, folks, there you have it. That was last night's edition of the GIS's national report, okay? You know, I sat here, and this really, really hurts me. You and I have talked about this before, but during that report, I lost more than 25% of my viewers. And that didn't just happen this morning. This happens routinely. You listen to what's going on before the GIS, some of you take off and may eventually come back when you think the GIS is over. And, you know, that's sad. My friends, listen to me. I understand how you feel. You're not alone. There are a lot of people who do. I mean, take a look at what just happened here this morning, okay? But please, please, I implore you, it is important, even though you may not agree with what you see and hear, it is important that you listen so that when the ball drops, you'll be able to say with confidence, yeah, I heard that, I saw that, I know that, okay? So please, don't tune out when the national report comes on. Don't. Listen to what is being said. Now, during that report, see, I'm running well behind time again this morning. There were several comments here. I see comments from Sean's, Fitzroy, Bernard, Donna, Benedict, John, Sonia, Arthur, Margaret. Geez. Hold on, a whole lot. And AJ Langi or Langai. So yeah, thank you for chiming in, but I'm gonna move on because I really wanna get to our final segment this morning. You can go on back and watch this on Facebook. But we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, you'll hear what the Prime Minister had to say at the start of Tuesday's post-cabinet briefing. Okay, hang in there.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Studying too hard about back-to-school expenses? Co-op Bank is making back-to-school as easy as 1, 2, 3. Enjoy competitive interest rates, affordable monthly payments, speedy decisions on applications. Come in and apply today.
Easy living should be convenient. With Grenec, it is. Dial 237 for any Grenec department, or for customer service, streetlight outages, or if it's unsafe to trim a tree near a power line. For streetlights and service issues, please note the pole number. From just about anywhere, you can also check your bill balance and other account information. Just keep your Grenec access number handy. Dial 237 for Grenec. It's that easy. Grenec, energizing our Grenada.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food Fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who supporting the environment. That is why I shopping at Food Fair.
Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Okay, now, every Tuesday morning there's a post-cabinet briefing down at the Gardens, and yesterday I showed you a couple of excerpts of the Prime Minister's responses. He was the person hosting this briefing yesterday, on Tuesday. And what I hadn't shown you were the comments which he made from the start of the briefing to the point where I picked up. I picked up when the reporters started asking questions, okay? I want to share with you now the comments that were made by the Prime Minister, in which essentially he was giving a briefing on the state of the economy here in Grenada. Okay, so take a look at this.
Members of the press, good morning to all of you, and of course, good morning to all listeners throughout the length and breadth of Grenada, Carriacou, Petite Martinique, and the World Wide Web, right? So, well, I want to begin this post-cabinet briefing, unfortunately, in a sad and somber note, and to recognize the passing of Dr. Winston Thomas, who I think we all know has given selfless service in the healing and the health of so many of our citizens throughout the length and breadth of the country. Many of our health professionals, particularly doctors, after receiving serious education and the profession have given service, but in most cases have established their own private practice, which is their right. Dr. Thomas is one of the unique ones who gave his entire service without a private practice to the service of providing health care for all the citizens of this country, without exception. It is well known that he had very strong political views, but not always consistent with mine. But one thing I can say about him, in the process of doing this, he never allowed his politics to interfere with his profession. And that is something, I think, a message, a legacy that I think he would have left, hopefully, with all of us. You can have your political views, you can have your differences, but it must not affect your service to your people, because that's the number one priority. So the second issue I want to speak towards is the fact that we are in our festive season, from all indication that things are going smoothly, and we expect them to continue in that vein. Of course, our watchword must be a clean, safe, and healthy fun. And I think it's important to recognize that so far we've seen precisely this. And the Royal Grenada Police Force must be given a lot of credit for supporting and ensuring that these activities can be done in the manner in which we just spoke about. But I do want to make the point that only recently, in fact 2 days ago, I received some video of an activity in a festive season in a particular Caribbean country, where what I saw is not something I would like to see reoccur in Grenada. We must always remember, no matter what, how we feel, or what we wish to do, we have a responsibility to our citizens and our population, particularly young people. The message we send in the way we conduct ourselves, in no matter what area, is something that must be tempered by the impact it will have on the young ones and the young people of our country. So I would expect that we won't see what I saw on that video and what is defined as part of a carnival operation not happen here. And I am sure the police will act appropriately if any such activities is attempted. And I think all of us should be proud in supporting the police, because all of us, we have families, we children, grandchildren, and clearly we do not want them to adopt some things that are not in their best particular interests. We do have to accept, though, there are some areas, and it cannot be attributed as just the carnival season, that one of the serious concerns we've had at the Ministry of National Security is the issue of traffic problems, where there's been a tremendous increase in accidents at all levels in our society, whether it's private vehicles, trucking activity, or bus-related activities. They all must be of serious concern, because you're talking about the safety of the drivers, the passengers, and the people of the country. So the police force has been looking at all aspects. The traffic division has been upgraded in every aspect. They're being given tools, and of course, they're looking at implementing areas of technology that can, in fact, empower them to help us in dealing with this vexing problem. Even the insurance companies are feeling the problems. So the private sector, some of the solutions that we're looking at will involve the private sector in our country as a whole. I just want to now turn to the ministry. I've just returned from a management meeting at the Ministry of Finance that I'm responsible for. And just to report that so far, for the middle of the year, our economy continues to remain one of the stronger economies in the region, with another year of serious growth projected. The tourism and transport sectors appear to be the major drivers, which is also supported and complemented seriously by the increase in agricultural activities in the country as a whole. The construction sector continues to be, but because of the tremendous increase we saw last year, we may not necessarily see a massive increase in growth, because last year was a very robust year. But construction sector continued to provide tremendous job opportunities and economic activities, which will continue, of course. On the labor force front, which of course, sometimes you have growth. You listen to television, you hear the debate taking place in the United States, so the growth is this and the growth is that, and the economy is doing that. Well, some people are complaining that they are underemployed and serious issues related to their ability to survive in what appears to be a robust, growth-oriented society. So we have to concentrate, one, on the employment, and not just employment, but also underemployment. But as you recall, our unemployment when we got into office in 2013 was about 40% plus. And the latest scientific results show that the unemployment now is about 16% in the third quarter of this year, 16.7% exactly. The Ministry Statistics Division, which is of course supported by regional organizations and international statistics organization, Statistics Canada and international body, UN body, they are involved. So it is rigorous statistical analysis, statistical survey that they're doing. It's not by guesswork or unscientific approach. So we can assume that the numbers they give us and are in fact pretty sound. We expect that we'll continue to see decline. Hope by the end of the year we'll expect to see further decline in that particular area. I also want to make the point that the total revenue for the first half of the year is almost $390 million, which is 3.4% more than what was collected in the first half of 2018. And if the revenue is showing an increase, it means that the economic activity logically, therefore, has not fallen, unless, of course, we got a windfall in revenues, and that has not happened, certainly not yet. So we continue to, well, and as far as our debt is concerned, our public debt, and I will give you all the numbers so that no one has a concern. I've always said that the issue as far as debt is not the number, the value of the debt, it's the debt to GDP ratio, but some people are confusing it and indicating that we need to know the number. I'll give both. So the debt at this point in time, remember we started 2008 with a debt to GDP ratio of over 110%. Today it's 61%, so there's a tremendous, and it's been lauded internationally. But let me say, today the guaranteed debt stood at 59.5% of GDP, which is $1.924 billion, which marks a decrease of 4.4% from the same period in 2018, where the public debt recorded at 63.9% of GDP, which was $2.0215 billion. Okay? In the areas, one of the key things that's driving the debt, driving economic activity is, and that's really what you want. The public sector has a major role to play because it deals with the construction of roads and dealing with water service and all the other related education, schools, and other activities, which is directly related to the improvement in agriculture and other services and so on. But the key is to see that the public sector to help to drive the private sector activities, to relieve the government, the public sector, from the burden of creating jobs. And the more jobs that should be created in the private sector. And here we could feel a sense of elation, because this is one area I think this country has seen tremendous activity. Right, as you know, we've announced and it's on track, the Range project, 100 rooms, 6 cents resort at La Sagesse in St. David's. And that project is expected to be launched on the 23rd of August, which is very soon, 2019, and it's over $300 million in investment and employment, of course. And what is good about this, it's in the rural portion in St. David's. And there will be a 240 hotel room luxury resort encompassing 3 properties at True Blue. This is Homer Limited project with an investment over $60 million, and it's carded for implementation in 2019. The project is going to be creating serious jobs. There's also a Star Development project, a 60-room hotel and spa to develop in 3 phases at the Groom's Estate, Dr. Groom Beach in Points Lane, and that's a $56 million project. At the manufacturing side, and Renegade is one of the proudest projects in terms of manufacturing, and of course, and in terms of rural development. The fact that it's occurring in a portion of the country which really was seen having great difficulty in attracting serious investment. So the employment opportunity and the ancillary activities for people doing businesses in several areas, providing services, the expansion of activities and creating enormous jobs. And with the kind of technical jobs, a number of our students who have gone to school and do engineering, chemical engineering, chemistry, and other things, and no longer have to go abroad to find a job. Some of them are employed right there as serious chemists as the project moves towards total implementation. Right? Yes. So, and of course, it's a heavy impact on agriculture. Remember, they have contracted over 60-odd farmers, fully employed, renting their lands and paying for it, and producing the cane as a product for the whole production of the rum. And the rum is for export. It be known. So those who are saying that we are drinking too much alcohol and we're bringing in more, we're producing for the world market. And we believe that since it's a special product, we're not going to be creating any problem for the world, the peoples of the world, because they get enough of a special project. They could slow down the drinking and other things and not as useful. It's almost said to be one of the pure type of alcohol activities. So. And as far as the social, and of course, there are a number of major projects. The project expected the Rex Grenadian Hotel. Remember, that has been taken over by Sunwing, some property. They have massive construction going on down in that place. They expect to be able to finish the first phase of that development by December. They want to be able to open for the winter season. They don't want to lose the winter season. So that is done, and as you know, Kawana Bay is on now. That's whole hotel that was leveled, and now construction is in full blast. And then there's several other top activities. I have all the list of activities here that are taking place. Many of the home buildings, the apartment buildings for students' accommodation and other activities, a massive amount that are taking place in the south with scores of jobs, because these people have to employ lots of people to be able to maintain the properties. And so we continue to see serious, robust activities throughout the length and breadth of the country. My proudest thing is on my recent trip to North America, I went to Montreal, Toronto, Washington, Baltimore, New York. We had tremendous discussion with range of opportunities, and one major group, the group from Hong Kong, which is looking at that major development in St. Patrick's, a major development. The project they've already invested in the lands, and of course now doing designs, which of course that means a lot of expenditure taking place. You're talking millions and billions. This is almost a $1 billion plus project. They're talking about $2 billion, but I'll be satisfied with one. I don't think so St. Patrick's can feel a sense of elation, and the whole of the north side, because the connection with our sister island, Carriacou, they would feel the benefits of that tremendous development. So it's all meaning one thing. As we continue to do, we got a lot of good things going for us. We have problems, clearly, and we'll continue to have problems, but we are making tremendous strides. Unfortunately, sometimes you hear more of the problems that we have than the little ones that we have, and we sometimes call it big, when in fact we do not hear enough about the most important things. I just want to comment briefly on what is considered, some people call it the phone gate. I hear they call it phone gate, water gate, phone gate, brief gate. This one is phone gate. What? Brief gate. I'm the lucky man in all this, right? Okay, fella. Now, just to say that I think I've spoken on that issue. One thing one has to accept, and maybe my years of experience in this business have taught me, you have to prepare for things not going the right way you want it all the time, on the daily basis. In fact, you're in your own home environment, private life, you know that things happen to you a lot of times. Events around you occur, and you have to be ready to deal with it, not to just mourn over it or complain over it or blame everybody else, but accept your responsibilities, correct it, find solutions, move on. That's the formula for everything, whether it's in your private life, whether it's in sports, whether it's business, political life. That formula will always suit you right. Always examine your role in the what occur first. Never blame the next person first. Look at yourself. Take your blame, and then you examine who else. So the government has accepted full responsibility because we are leading. And all governments in the past, and the numbers and data from previous governments will also be given soon. And you will see what I'm talking about. 2008, 2013, the numbers are something else. So we want everybody to accept their role. I accepted mine, and so on. So we want everybody to accept them. Doesn't make it right, but accept it. And clearly, there's an old saying that no bad breeze blow. When something happens, sometimes it opens your eyes and it gives you to look at not just that issue, but other areas of weaknesses that you may be overlooking. And you might find out that it give us an opportunity to assess. I've just come from Ministry of Finance, and that's what I'm saying here. I repeated the same thing there. Guys, look around us and look at the other areas. Look at electricity, look at this, look at that, look at all the things. And ask yourself if we are making sure that we are not wasting taxpayers' money and so on. Examine this. So we are looking at solutions. Now with solutions, tighten the auditing department of government. This, looking at all areas of controls. Looking at responsibilities, a phone bill or electricity bill or water bill comes from government, from some company to your ministry. You don't just sign it and send it on for payment. When each of us get our bills, what do? We check it. So if the water bill goes up too high, we call, what happened? It happened to me too, you know. And I call and say, how come that thing reached $1,000 and I cost them paying $75? And he found there's a pipe that bust. But if it's government, we paying without asking, where's a pipe that bust? So the pipe may be running for months. But we have to examine it, every bill. And if we are doing that, if every person was responsible for accounting in the public sector, if we were doing this, then we will not be talking that problem here today. So it's a breakdown at several levels. And that is something. Clearly, the service providers cannot duck responsibility. So to say, oh, the government should have checked the bill. Oh, well, maybe the Prime Minister and his team should have been asking for bills. Oh, how could I be asking for bills? Telephone, I have so much work to do. I can find out about bills. I don't even know my bills home. People do it for me. So, but the point is, we are having to put that system in place so we could assure the population, as long as I'm in government, this will not occur. And we are working. The service provider leadership came in to see me since I came back, and we've looked at several areas that we can, of course, advance controls and so on. And we're looking at several options. If the service provider cannot give us cannot ensure that these bills do not go beyond the limit, it may mean that we have to look at another method. Maybe give people a standard amount and they are responsible for their bills. That's an option, but there's some risk related to that. I'm just giving some broad things now. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but I'm just saying if the service provider works with the government and with the different ministries in providing that mechanism for control, then may not need to look alternatively. But in any event, nothing should prevent us from examining bills on a monthly basis in a serious way before. So I make this point for what it's worth. I do want to say this, that our brother Damian Daniel once again has made us very, very proud. Our sporting personalities in several areas, whether it's cricket, football, athletics, swimming, netball, they're all in their own way are making us proud. And sometimes they don't get our cultural artists. They don't always give us, they don't always get the credit many of them deserve for what they're doing and the performances that they're having and the impact it's having on the country's image as a whole. So I just think we need to take this, I want to take this opportunity to commend Damian Dan. He's a very disciplined young man. He says he's not eating this, he's not eating this. While he may like it, because he's so concerned about in preparation. No one could ever accuse him of taking any additional stuff that can defile his body, just to blow up his body. He's very conscious of this. So we are proud of individuals like himself. I also want to compliment the Royal Grenada Police Force and the Traffic Division in particular for recently bringing many of our, what you would call, we sometimes call them vagrants or destitute persons in the street, taking them in and giving them food, cleaning them, giving them new clothes, and they say we have seen some of them in the street and we can't believe it's them. So I just think we need to come. Sometimes people do things that they don't have to do, and we don't even recognize it, and we take it for granted. But if they make a mistake, then we start shouting all how bad they are and so on. So I think it's important for me to just mention this briefly. And colleagues, there may be questions and so on, so I think I should stop here. I've spoken for such a long time enough, and give you the opportunity. I welcome the opportunity that you ask any questions outside related to what I've just said or any other issue. You don't usually get me often, so I know some of you have been asking about me, whether I'm okay or not. I hope you are satisfied. And I thank you for your concern about my welfare, to say that I'm doing fine.
All right. Folks, I just want to remind you, for those of you who may have joined us late, that what you were watching were the opening comments made by Prime Minister Mitchell at this past Tuesday's post-cabinet briefing. This was not live. This was done on Tuesday. And let me confess to you, I am sitting here overwhelmed by the number and quality of the responses that you have posted on Facebook. They speak volumes. They speak volumes. There are too many of them. I'm not going to be able to take them on right now because, again, I also want to express my appreciation for your patience in allowing me so far to go 15 minutes over time, and it seems like this is becoming the norm. Folks, you have demonstrated the patience of Job with me, and I'm not going to abuse that, okay? So thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for watching. We're going to wrap it up this morning with a parting word from the Holy Scriptures. James chapter 2, verses 14 to 19. What good is it, my brothers and sisters, If someone claims to have faith but has no deeds, can such faith save them? Suppose a brother or a sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to them, "Go in peace, keep warm and well fed," but does nothing about their physical needs, what good is it? In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. But someone will say, "You have faith, I have deeds." Show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by my deeds. You believe that there is one God? Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder. James chapter 2, 14 to 19. My dear friends, again, for those of you who may not have read all the comments that came in during that segment with the Prime Minister, I urge you, take a few minutes. It's just going to take me too long to go through those. Take a few minutes and read those comments. Powerful. And they speak volumes. Pilgrims, thanks for joining us. You have a great day, and may God bless you. So long.